How do you create a deeper sense of meaning in your life right now? Right now, the world is going through changing times, so I think this conversation is more important than ever. And I want to share with you 3 things that you can implement into your life straight away. You can implement them for yourself, or you can even teach them to someone else to be able to feel a deeper sense of meaning in our lives. Now, the great thing about meaning is we can learn to cultivate meaning in our lives despite what's happening outside of us. And so the first point of creating a deeper sense of meaning in our life is our sense and our relationship with our purpose. You know, a lot of people misunderstand purpose and they make it into a really big deal and they go, oh, I'm searching for my purpose. I've got no idea what it is. I want to break it down into 2 really simple points. Purpose number 1, know yourself. Now, a lot of people never look within. There's 2 types of goals we can set as coaches. We can set external goals, we can set internal goals. External goals: have a greater car, have a better career, find a relationship. These are all fantastic things. Very, very important. Internal goals: learning about myself, understanding what I'm great at, understanding what I'm not so great at, setting goals like developing more gratitude in my life, developing more peace, learning about my emotions, for example. These are just basic fundamentals of how I can relate to myself, looking after my health. These are great internal goals. And the more that I know about how I work, the more sense of purpose that I have, because the more understanding, the more awareness I have. One of the things that Carl Jung said, he's one of the grandfathers of psychology. He says that we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. So I don't experience the world fully the way that it actually is. I experience the world through my own lens. And so, for example, if I have no awareness of what's going on inside my body, I will most likely be overly anxious, overly reactive of things that's going on in the world. And that's not a great way to live. So we want to have more awareness. The more awareness we have of our internal world, the more psychological well-being we will experience with ourselves and with others. So that's the first part of purpose. The second part of purpose is simply living our life in a way where we decide that it's not all about ourselves. One of the biggest mistakes, and man, I'm seeing this more and more right now, is there's this level of like narcissism, which is just rising around the world, where people are becoming more and more and more self-involved than I've ever seen before. Now, don't get me wrong, know yourself, right? Like study, do self-education, learn about yourself, learn about your emotions, learn about your strengths, learn about how you got here. These are all important things to know. The more we know ourselves, the more self-awareness we have. But some people take it way further than that. And all they ever do is they make their entire life revolve around themselves. You know, this is made really worse by social media. Social media and like the significance people can get from getting likes and comments and things on themselves. Now, social media has a great place to play in, for example, in business and connection, and it's not all bad, but that's a whole other conversation. When we develop a greater sense of purpose, we make a decision to live our life in service to other people, to be of a benefit to the world. And this doesn't have to be on a large scale. It doesn't mean everyone has to open up a charity in another country and save the lives of millions of people. And if that's your thing, that's amazing, go for it. It could just simply be being the best brother that you can be, being the best sister that you can be, being the best mother, being the best father, being the best teacher, being the best coach, being the best business owner, being the best employee, being someone who decides that when I leave my house, I'm going to make other people's lives better as a result of me being there, not worse. That's how we find purpose, is we live a life of service. Now, how do you want to implement that? Well, there's a gazillion different ways, and have some fun. And what you do through your life as purpose will change. I used to be a personal trainer. Now I'm a coach. And there's all these things will evolve, and I will bring that sense of purpose throughout my entire life. So purpose is about service. Know ourselves and commit to a life of service. So that's the first part. The second part of creating meaning in our lives is actually developing our own autonomy. Now, autonomy is simply that I am responsible for myself and I'm not responsible for you. You are responsible for you. Now, a lot of people don't have autonomy in their life. They actually have this thing called enmeshment, which is where they feel like they are responsible for other people. And as a result of that, they feel overly anxious and they feel depressed when other people aren't doing what they want them to do. And so we need to let go of that idea and realize that the only person I'm responsible for right now is myself. Now, when we develop a sense of autonomy, one of the greatest things to do is actually to simply start setting goals for ourselves. When people don't have autonomy, they don't set goals. And they might say, well, I tried setting goals, but then everyone else's stuff got in the way. That's a lack of autonomy. I am not responsible for me. I am responsible for everyone else but myself. And so when we develop autonomy, we say, I'm all right, I'm going to give you back a responsibility. You can take care of your stuff. I'm going to start taking care of my stuff. It's not about being selfish. It's about being responsible, right? And for example, if you're a parent, you still take care of your kids. I'm not saying, it's not black and white. I'm not saying just kick everyone out and just take care of yourself. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply just saying, decide to set goals. And it might be one small thing. One of the best things we can do right now in 2020 is we can do self-education. You can learn about whatever you want from wherever you are at whatever pace that you want through self-education. We're doing it right now through this medium. It's amazing. Through social media, you can find amazing opportunities like this. So to take that into our grasp, take that into our control and say, okay, well, I'm going to set some goals. I'm going to learn a new skill. That develops self-autonomy, and it actually develops self-respect as well, because we're increasing our own competency, and that increases our own confidence in our lives also. The third part of developing meaning in our lives is to know that we matter, right? To know that we matter to someone else. And the only way we can do this is to focus on developing quality relationships in our life. A lot of people think that you can get through life just focusing on yourself. And this kind of goes back to the other points before. If we just focus on ourselves and we're just focusing on being the best that we can possibly be, but we're not bringing others with us, we're going to have a very, very lonely journey. And one of the things that is just an absolute mismatch for feeling a sense of meaning in our life is having poor quality relationships. There's been some amazing studies done on this where they look at what actually drives purpose, what drives meaning in life, what drives satisfaction in life. And the number one thing is, what are the quality of the relationships that you have in your life? I remember there was a time when I looked at my Facebook account. This was probably about 4 years ago, and I had 5,000 friends. And I thought, how many of these people do I actually know? How many of these people do I have a deep connection with? I think we can become addicted to the number. It's our number of followers, the number of likes, the number of people that are into me right now. But what is the level of depth that I actually experience? And the only way we can experience depth is through creating a focus on intimacy, which means closeness. To be able to be close to others, to be able to speak our minds, to be able to be honest, to be able to have reciprocity and respect with each other. Love, care, and respect are the three things that make up an amazing relationship. So the 3 points to be able to develop even more meaning in our lives right now is creating a sense of purpose, creating a sense of autonomy, and finding ways to know that we matter through relationships. I trust that this moment that we got to share with each other has been useful for you. If it has, and if you've resonated with anything that I've shared with you, I'd love to invite you to go ahead and click the link below. You'll head over to another page where I'd love to invite you to a live global coaching summit that we're running. It's all about how to coach yourself and others through changing times. We're going to share ideas like this, how we can become more self-aware, how we can live our life with even more purpose, even more passion, and even more fulfillment. And more importantly, we're going to look at the tools that we can use to help other people experience this also, so we can make even more of a difference in the world, which I know is important. Go ahead and click the link below. I trust I'll see you over on the other side.